Hello, my name is Manuel Heredia, and this is Mini Puppet Adventures. Welcome to part 6 of the series. Today we will build, install, and calibrate the legs of our robot, and we will be finally ready to start playing with it. I guess you're looking forward to it as much as I am, so let's get to it. We will need the screwdriver and the wrench provided in the kit. The assembly of the legs is not complex, but there's a lot of parts involved as well as screws and nuts and bearings. So it's a good idea to prepare the bits and pieces beforehand. These 9 parts are the main components of the leg assembly. They're exactly the same for the left and the right legs, just some parts need to be connected symmetrically. I've labeled them as follows for convenience. I will demonstrate the process for the left leg. We start connecting parts A and B with a 5mm screw. The carbon fiber link comes with the bearings pre-installed, so pay attention that the side that is flush with the surface should be in contact with the plastic servo horn. Like so. Next we go for part C. Note that the middle hole in this link is slightly off-center. We want to connect the shorter end with the previous build using an 8mm screw and a lock nut. We tighten the nut using the screwdriver and the wrench, making sure the resulting assembly can rotate freely. Like so. Next we assemble the 3 components of the adjustable rod. We want the distance between the holes to be exactly the same as for part G. I used a caliper to measure, but if you don't have one, you could prepare a template on a piece of paper to the same effect. The important thing is to carefully rotate the endings of the rod until you match closely the distance between holes of part G, like so. To build the thigh, we attach part H to part G using a 5mm screw, like so. Easy. To connect part I with part G, we start inserting the 3 elements of a thrust bearing in a 12mm screw. Note that the ring is sandwiched between 2 washers, with the grooves of both washers facing towards the bearing ring. Then we insert part I, a second bearing, part G, and we close the stack with a lock nut. Close attention to the relative position of parts G and I. All the previous assembly steps were identical for the left and right legs, but this one and the following ones are not. Remember that I am demonstrating the left leg and the right leg should be built symmetrically. After tightening the lock nut, the 2 parts should rotate freely, like so. Next, we connect one end of the adjustable rod to the top hole of part I using an 8mm screw and a lock nut. The other end of the rod should connect to part C, using another 8mm screw and lock nut. Here it is important that we don't allow the endings of the rod to rotate relative to each other, as this would modify the length of the rod that we had calibrated earlier. For the final step, we insert a thrust bearing into a 14mm screw, then part C, then a second bearing, and part G. Note that this stack will remain open until we install the leg on the hip, so we need to handle it carefully to avoid the screw from coming out. With this, the left leg is ready for installation. The assembly of the right leg is similar, and we need to repeat the process to build 2 left legs and 2 right legs. Installation of the legs is straightforward, but remember to reset the servos beforehand as demonstrated in part 5 of the series. We will try to assemble the legs as close as possible to the neutral position. Here I have done it already for the front left leg, and I will show the process for the rear leg. We insert part H, as shown, into the thigh servo and fix it loosely with the 14mm screw. Then we insert part A into the calf servo and we attach it with a 12mm screw. Then we tighten the screws, taking care not to force the servos. Voila. Now we repeat the process for the front right leg. And the rear right leg. If you choose to disassemble the 14mm screw, be careful not to modify the length of the adjustable rod. Now it's a good time to charge the battery if you haven't done it already. The red LED indicates that the battery is charging. In my case, it took approximately 1 hour, and you will see that the charge is complete when the LED turns green. For the final calibration of the legs, we need to connect a robot to a screen, a keyboard, and a mouse, as we saw in part 5. We press the power button 1, 2, 3 seconds to start the boot up sequence. It takes a few minutes. Until we hear the sound and the LCD display powers up. To launch the calibration script, we click on this icon and immediately the legs move to the neutral position. There you go. If you follow the process properly, only minor adjustments will be required. You can move the servos using the sliders as needed. And here I'm using the grid printed on the mat as a reference to align the legs at 90 degrees. When you're happy, click on Update and Yes to save the values. Calibration data is stored in a dedicated memory in the PCB board so that it survives even if we reformat or replace the SD card. Thanks for watching and see you soon.